Michael here to give you the latest on what's going on out there in the weather community. We have heat advisories, some flood warnings that are in effect, flash flood warnings, some flood advisories, severe thunderstorms in effect, and we have some Saharan dust to talk about that will be happening across the moving towards our direction, crossing over from the Atlantic to the United States. And it will be lowering our chances of tropical development, thankfully, across the United States. And I will talk to you about how the possibility is still there. It's just that right now the Saharan dust is lowering our chances. Let's not forget that there's still chances during this whole entire hurricane season. But my name is Michael. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe for future weather updates just like this. And let's get started. So as you can see right now, as you can see right there, and I'll get up there to the Midwest in just a second, but look right into here. You have those extreme heat warnings that are in effect for those areas of the Carolinas. So it goes from Hilton Head, and I think that might actually be some extreme heat warnings as we get closer to the water. So that might actually be, yeah, that's the Georgia coast, it seems. So it's really down there by Brunswick, Georgia, all the way up to areas near Wilmington. Right there. As you can also see, those severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. Flash flood warnings are in effect for areas of central Tennessee, Kentucky. As you get into the Cumberland Plateau over there, you get near that direction there. As you have those flood watches, they are in effect. Heat advisories in effect for Oklahoma. Flash flood warnings are in effect there in the central part of the country, as well as severe thunderstorm warnings. Severe thunderstorm watches are scattered across areas of the Midwest and the central part of the country. Extreme heat warnings in the west, so everybody's hot. Everybody is getting that wet weather pattern that we've been talking about here in the days right now. As you can see there, really, we've talked about that severe weather potential, and that severe thunderstorm watch has been sitting there across that part of the country right there, so we could be expecting that. Very low chance of tornadoes in that area, if I'm not mistaken. But look at today's outlook. We're not going to spend too much time on this because I know this day is almost over. We want to get into tomorrow. We have the level 3 out of 5 risk for areas of Colby and McCook. As you get right there in those areas, that enhanced and slight risk that will be in that central part of the country right there into that area. So you want to watch out there. It's going to be the Midwest areas of La Crosse under that 2 out of 5 risk, and marginal risk and marginal north of Charlotte and around the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham. As you get into that area, showers and thunderstorms spread significantly across the entirety of the lower 48. So you want to watch out there. Getting up there into New England, close to Canada over there, as you can see, I'm pretty sure that's showing showers and thunderstorms for Canada as well. Now, as we get into our tornado outlook, here's a tornado outlook. Remember, not too much of a tornado outlook today. 2%. As we get to the wind threat, we do have a wind threat there, the dashed line in effect for areas of Colby and McCook. As you get there, hail threat is going to be not packing a punch as much as the wind threat, but that's something to keep an eye out for. Now, as we get into tomorrow, this is the advisory that everybody wants to see your commute tomorrow for your Thursday. For the central part of the country, we are going to have a large 2 out of 5 risk over here. That's going to be the central part of the country, all the way in the northern parts of the country, dropping all the way to the central middle parts of the country as you get there. And then we get into the central parts as well, some areas of the Midwest. And then watch out there, Baltimore, Washington, you're going to be in that 2 out of 5 risk as well, along with Richmond, Virginia. Once again, widespread showers and thunderstorms for these areas. Now for our tornado threat, not going to be as much, 2% chance, but it's still something you want to watch out for, so you could have a few spin-ups here and there. St. Louis, you're going to be under that right now. As we get into our wind threat, central part of the country, same areas respectively that had the 2 out of 5 level risk there. As you get into your hail threat, not too much of the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, but you do have your dash line in that northern part of the country there. As we get into the central part of the country, you're going to have that yellow threat there. And as we get more to the central part of the country, you have the low-end hail threat, but that's something to look out for. Your day 3 outlook, marginal, it seems to be right now, and then you're probabilistic about the same area. Not as high of a wind threat right now, but that's something we want to keep our eyes on for our Friday. So, you know, things could change out here in the weather. I'm here to update you on the latest on what's happening with those things. So we have a little changes here and there. I'm here to update you. I'm here to guide you and give you the information that you're needed for your daily commutes here. So we're going to get to the National Weather Service heat risk. So let's talk about that, because we have some areas that are still under those heat alerts. That is going to be for areas like Savannah, into Charleston, into Wilmington, Myrtle Beach, those areas like that. Now here's a look at your NWS heat risk. As you can see there, reds are all over your screen across the south right now. I mean, we can even shift that down just a little bit. Let's zoom this out just a little bit more. So I-85 corridor, like we said before, in the eastward, you're going to have that heat. 45.8 million people, roughly, if I move this up. That's 43 right into here. It's going to change from time to time as I zoom in and out because you have that red over there. But look down here into Florida and Georgia and the Carolinas. You have your purples that are along your screen, and I want you to pay attention to that coast where those extreme heat warnings and watches are. As you can see there, they're starting to get into there, so I wouldn't be surprised if those extreme heat warnings get extended just a little bit west there, northwest. As you get there into your Saturday, heat temperatures start to calm down, but look at Florida down there. Purple's near Orlando and Tampa Bay. Into Sunday, we start to finally cool off a little bit as we get into Monday, and then Tuesday, it seems like we're finally putting an end to this. Now, as for our northern part of the country, not so much. You know, when one person is getting heat this time of year, another person is not, and then vice versa. So as you get into your Wednesday, so when it comes to this type of weather, it kind of looks like we're having a wave that's going on here. Major heat in effect for eastern portions of the country as well as that purple. So as you get in, like I was saying, move into your Thursday and then into your Friday, you got purples as we start to move away from the extreme heat, although we do have it in Florida. Look at to Sunday. The heat's gone from Florida and now we're in the north, and it's just going to keep shifting. So the way I'm looking at it, and this is not always how it will go, but this is the way I'm looking at it when it comes to heat. The heat is just constantly moving in that direction right there, moving in the southeastern direction. Remember, the heat was way up here by the Midwest to begin with already. Now we've cooled off, and now Florida's dealing with the heat. The minute the heat leaves Florida, now we're dealing with the heat back once again in the Midwest. Could this heat extend down here in the next few days? That's something that we're watching for there. So you can expect extreme heat temperatures as far as Florida. Then as you get into early next week, you're going to deal with the hot temperatures that is going to be in the Midwest, the central parts of the country. You know those areas right there on the map, as you can see. But it's going to be orange. Orange, red, and purple, as I've said. If you're not in the purple, you are in the red. If you're not in the red, you are in the orange. And if you're not in the orange, you're in the yellow, which is not a bad spot to be, but I have that yellow. But remember, we're seeing three major colors here, and they're not good colors. Purple, red, and orange. In that order that I said, it's worst to least worst. So these are bad temperatures, something we got to keep our eyes on, and we here, me as in Michael, myself, is going to be watching, going to be helping you. Let's not forget about that major heat there, as you can see, into Boston, into the New England area. So nobody is getting away from these temperatures. Nobody is really escaping. Like maybe in the mountain areas, you're not going to have as much high heat, but a lot of people are under these heat alerts. We're going to continue to see these heat alerts, and we're just going to continue to see that heat across the lower 48 states of the United States. So that's something to look out for. Now let's talk about this Saharan dust that's going on out there. And I want to show you something. I'm just going to give you the National Hurricane Center graphic, but I'm going to explain something here from the National Hurricane Center in Miami-Dade County. Now, we're not expecting any tropical development in the next 7 days, which is in this time of year. So we have some Saharan dust that's moving over. And it's going to be moving in this direction like this. And not everybody's going to get that dust. And I'm going to draw a circle relative. This is not exactly accurate. But if you're in that circle, you're going to start seeing that dust. Specifically into the Florida region as we get into northern Georgia. It tries to reach northern Georgia. Tries to reach the central parts, the Midlands of the Carolinas. So we're going to see that Saharan dust. It's not going to move. It's going to move like sort of like this. And it's really just going to be going like this. So it's going to be, and that's going to help us start to move those storms out the way. Now remember, this is an El Nino, and we do see the less chance of hurricanes happening here. But what I tell people all the time, even though we have the less chance of hurricanes, doesn't mean zero hurricanes. So if we do have a hurricane, you do want to be prepared, because that hurricane could make landfall in the United States, and it could be a devastating hurricane too. Because when we see hurricanes, we have the possibility of those hurricanes being category 3 or higher, being a major hurricane across the Atlantic, and those are devastating hurricanes. So even though you have a small chance of a hurricane, it is not a zero amount. So keep that in mind there, and also have your way. So if you're used to getting your hurricane preparedness kits, and you have your hurricane preparedness kits, and you usually do it every year, and this year you're trying to skip out on it or something like that, you might be like, we're not going to probably get a hurricane anyway. That's not a way to think. Like, I'm just saying that when you have these storms, you want to be prepared. don't think that this is a hurricane season where no hurricanes are going to happen whatsoever. We are seeing the El Nino. We're seeing a large and larger El Nino grow as we get through these summer months. I can't stress that enough. We are not going to be at zero chance. We could potentially see these hurricanes. We saw Tropical Storm Arthur come through the Gulf area and just plummet. A whole bunch of rain moving over, bringing that severe weather, tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings to the southern areas of Georgia, into the low country of the Carolinas, I think. Well, we had some rain there in the low countries of the Carolinas, but it was damaging weather along Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Just a flood, and this is just a tropical storm capable of doing this. So if you can, make sure you have a way to get those alerts, make sure that you're prepared, and make sure that you're staying safe out there so far. And here's a look at our GFS model, as you can see here across the United States. Remember, I told you about that wet weather pattern as you get to the southeastern sections of the United States. It looks like a storm tries to pop up there. We are very far out, but a storm tries to pop up there for the Pacific. But otherwise, we are seeing rain, rain, rain. We need the rain, like I've said before. We have these extreme temperatures, especially in the low country of the Carolinas. You need this rain to fall because it is going to be extremely hot. Some temperatures that are not common, record-breaking temperatures, rather. If we get into our European model, I just want to show you what that says right there. The European model is not going to be really different at all. Showers and thunderstorms is going to reflect those better. Showers and thunderstorms across the southeastern United States. You're going to see the constant rain, the constant showers and thunderstorms. It is live action here. Rain, rain, rain. And we need the rain. Like I've said, some areas, we're probably in a drought, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think we're in a drought at this point in time, especially with all of the hot temperatures. Grass is burning and things like that of that nature. So we're going to see this rain continuing the pattern. That's what we want to see for the next few days. The only issue with this rain is the severe storms that comes out of it and the potential for that flooding, as we're seeing there in central Kentucky and the northern sections of Tennessee. But my name is Michael. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, stay safe out there. Have a way to get those alerts. If you have a NOAA weather radio, make sure you're having that way, that ability to get those alerts, receive those alerts, and things like that of that nature. Make sure that you're staying tuned for local weather, local information. I know we're sort of in a period where it's just hot temperature, such like hot temperature and rain, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to get any of these things right now. Just make sure that you're on high alert, because you never know when we might have a tornado day, especially in the Midwest. Those tornadoes are just really common in the central part of the country, the Midwest. We're going to be here to give you those details on what's going on out there. Have a way that you're prepared and you know ahead of time that, okay, this is the possibility of what could happen, or we know that there's a sign of this happening. That's what I'm here to do, to inform you about. But my name is Michael. Make sure you subscribe for more weather updates like this. I'll see you out there in the weather community. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Stay safe, stay blessed, and have a great day.